he promised to be here next year, okay? And I have a question. That is, the world is growing conversational, but it's not, this is not innovative. We are used to communicate in natural language, and now there is a lot of talks that are through to the net. So this can include social networks, portals, and this kind of communication is the new way we use the channel. And this opens a new technical challenge for developers. What is a bot? A bot is a program that automates a task. The users, as you can see in the top of the slides, are the people who provide a question or a sentence to the bot. For this sentence, we can use channel. For example, we can use Skype, we can use voice recognition, and others. And the chatbot provides a smart response to the user. In all this cycle, we use artificial intelligence that is embedded in the platform. The platforms allows us to build smart bots that we can use in a collaborative way. This means that if I build a bot, I can share with my colleagues, and at the same time, my colleagues can develop in the same bot. So we can use the same bot like we use in Google Docs. We share the bot. Making a bot is a four-step process. This means that first we have to build the bot. The build is the interface we use to build the logic of the bot, because the bot has to, we need that the bot has a purpose. Then we train the bot with natural language, and we use natural language processing engine that is embedded in the bot. We use this engine to understand the conversation, okay? And then, sorry, we have to connect this bot with the channels. These channels can be Skype, can be Amazon, Alexa, and others, for example, Facebook Messenger. We use these channels to provide a new way to communicate the bot with the user. And at the end, because we are developers, we need to debug and we need to see the logs to study the conversation, to study the behavior of the bot. So we have to monitor the bot also. So this is the main step we need to use when we build a bot. The platform, SAP Conversational AI, is an open platform and has a simple architecture. That means that when the user sends a message to the bot, to our platform, this message can be in a channel, and this platform can connect also with the backend. So there is an integration also with the backend. There are two main steps that we have in our platform, two main concepts. That is the bot connector and the bot builder. The bot connector gathers the information from the user. So we can use a multi-channel platform. So this bot can send the user can send the messages through different channels. Okay, and then the bot connector, where we customize these channels, send the input of the user to the bot builder. The bot builder has the artificial intelligence embedded. So what are the steps that we need to follow to implement the logic in the bot builder? First, we have to catch the input from the user, okay? And this input can be through a channel. Then we apply the natural language processing engine to this message, okay, in this conversation. So this not only that we apply the natural language processing to this sentence, we have to have in account also the full context of the conversation. And this natural language process interpret and understand the sentence. And finally, we monitoring and we manage the conversation not only with the last sentence, so with new sentences. So we implement the basic conversation in the NLP engine, and then the bot is trained and learns itself with new inputs, okay? So this is an improved method. When we have a user input, we need to know that we have to understand how this input has to be managed. So we need two keys, that is the intent classification. Intent classification is the intention of the user and the entity. And the entity is the keyword. That is the meaning of the sentence. That is from the user input. So for each intent, we have many or one entities. So for example, in these sentences, the user input is, I have no internet or no signal at my place. This is the user input that we need to understand with our NLP engine. This is the intention of the user. The intention of the user can be expressed in different ways. So, but the intention of this user is to report an issue. And our NLP technology is based on text classification. So we classify the intent as a report issue. So this is the intent. And then we train the bot with different sentences. That, for example, we train the bot with these 3 sentences, and if I say, please, internet is down, that is a new sentence, the bot understands that this is a report issue. Okay, so it's not only when you train the bot, it's also that the bot learns with new sentences that aren't expected. So first of all, what's the intention? The second is the entity detection. When we catch the intention first, then we have to catch also the entity. The entity is the keyword. In our platform, in SAP Conversational AI, we have 31 entities out of the box. So this entity, you don't have to train it. But for example, in this case, Pérez is a keyword that is the location entity. Tonight is also a keyword that is the datetime, or Japanese. And if we, for example, need a new entity that is a custom entity, for example, our department or our line of product, we can define it. But these ones, we don't need to train it. And there is an interesting thing that is the confidence. You can see the confidence in this case of tonight is, for daytime, is 0.97. This means that when we get the value of the daytime, this is a high confidence that tonight is a daytime. For example, if I say, I'm looking for a Japanese restaurant tomorrow, the system is capable to detect that tomorrow also is a daytime. We explained the user input. It's very important to understand the user input, but we also need to understand what the bot have to say or have to reply to the user. So we have to build a smart conversation, and we define the skill for that. The skill is the responses of the chatbot, that the reply from the chatbot to the user. So we need, in SAP Conversational AI, there are 3 different types of skills. That is business, that is the core of the conversation, the target of, we design the bot. For example, if the target is, say, the bot provide the order, for example, the order from the ERP, for example, this is a business skill. Flooring is a small talk. For example, you can remember sometimes we say to Siri, that is known by everybody, hello Siri, what's your name, or how old are you? That are conversations that are not expected, that are natural conversation about any other thing. This is a small talk. And when we didn't implement any other skills and the conversation of the user is not the target and is not defined in the bot, it's very important to design the fallback, use the fallback, because the fallback is going to say something to the user for a sentence that is not expected. Okay, so in summary, inside the skill, we implement also a logic. The logic is composed of 3 elements that are triggers, requirements, and actions. Each skill has these 3 components. So, for example, the trigger is when an action, when the skill has to appear. Okay, activate the skill. Requirement is the information we need to catch from the user to provide a response. And the action is the response itself. Can be, for example, a message, or can be, for example, a call to the backend. So, in summary, when we build a bot, it's important to take in mind that we are going to need 3 components that are intents, that is the intention of the user, entities, that are the keywords that we extract from the intention of the user, and finally, the skills that is the skills are the response or the reply from the bot to the user, and this response is made from the bot. A bot in a real world that has any connection is useless. So we provide REST APIs to connect the chatbot with the backends or third parties. For this, we define that our action is to call a webhook. Okay, so for this, we introduce the target URL and the HTTP method to do the call, to make the call. Of course, we need authentication, so we provide a basic authentication. And in the roadmap, it's supposed to be integrate OAuth 2 also. That is very important now. When we call through the webhook, we have to put the header, okay, and include the variables we are going to need from the REST API. And also the body. The body is, we can use a JSON template. And then this is a reply from the backend. We send the JSON template from the backend, and we take the answer. We get the answer in a JSON format too. So this answer we can take in the bot. And now we are going to see a live prototype. This prototype was built by Cesar and me, and it takes 2 weeks. So from the requirements from the customer to the delivery took this time. So in this case, this prototype is connected with the backend, that is an ABAP backend. And in this case, in this demo, it's about users that usually call the IT department for ask for permissions that came from the ERP system, from the ABAP. In this case, take a lot of time. So the target here was automatize these tasks. These tasks and reduce the time consuming, because the bot is always available and the people has other things to do in the department. One thing I would like to show you before or explain is the way that we implement the webhook. The webhook in this prototype was implemented in ABAP. So the bot engine calls a REST endpoint in the SAP Cloud platform. And in ABAP, we implemented the webhook in a function module that is exposed via JSON ABAP adapter. So now we are going how it works. Okay. Okay. This is the SAP web page. This is the real web page, you can see. Okay. Here is the bot. In this case, the bot is in a web chat. The channel is the web chat. So now we are going to say this bot, hello. Okay, the bot replies me, knows that this is a greeting intention, and asks me for my name. Is this? And again, ask me about my email to identify me, to log in. So, okay. In this case of use, I'm going to show you two cases of use. This first case of use, all the logic is implemented inside the chatbot, inside the platform chatbot. The second example is connected with the backend. So in this case, the application, the chatbot, asked me about which is the ERP permission I need. And in this case, provide me a list of permissions. Also, the chatbot can provide a conversation. So I can write here the permission I need. But in this case, for have a more direct flow of conversation, we provide this list. So in this case, I say I need this permission. This is the reply of the chatbot. This application is this one. And to provide me my validator, that is the person or the person who has to provide me the permission, in this intent, we need to know, the chatbot needs to know to which entity I belongs and to which department. So to complete the response of the bot, we have to say the entity, that in this case is Spain, and also my business unit department, that is in case this is Iberia Finance. So finally, we send all the information that the bot needs to give me the right response, that is the action, this is the action, and now the chatbot can say, who is my validator? Also, you can implement this logic inside ABAP, and instead of give me the validator, give me directly the permission. So in this case, my validator is Sky. And the backup validator is Melinda May. And I can call her directly. Okay, this is the mobile of SAP. I'm going to hang up. And also, I can send a custom message, a custom email. That is here. I send the custom email that is the application to this validator and catch my entity and my department. This bot is implemented in Spanish, but simultaneously, you can train the bot in another language, like English, German, or another. I'm going to say goodbye. Okay, he say me goodbye also in a natural way. And now I'm going to show you the second example, that is the connection with the ABAP. So now I'm going to say hello again. My name is, for example, Cesar. Cesar email. Okay. And now we use the webhook. We use the webhook to call ABAP backend, where is implemented the adapter, and ABAP server says to me that my entity is Spain and Iberia Finance. This data came from the backend. And now we say the application we need to validate, that is ERP order. And again, ABAP say to me which is my validator. All these things came from ABAP. So in a JSON format, from ABAP, we send all the information to the chatbot to be used. In this case, it's Nick's Fury, and ABAP says that my validator is Nick. So all these things were implemented in 2 weeks. So this is a basic prototype that has to be improved, but it's a way to show that we can do many things in a short time of period. Okay? So many thanks for your attention, and see you then. Okay, thank you.
Hello. Before doing 5-minute breaks, not 10, I would like to request you to come here to the stage. We would like to have a group photo. So if you are you're going to be here, so near to stage. And then we will have 5-minute breaks if you need to go to bathroom to take. Here there are some water bottles, so you can take whatever you need. Some on the stage, another maybe downstairs, wherever you.